I am Ramona, and welcome to Ramona Interviews. And with me in the chair today, we're going to get angelic, and it's going to be wonderful. Welcome, George.
Hi, Ramona.
Could you introduce yourself and tell us about your fabulous book, and mostly about your journey to writing this book?
Absolutely. My name is George Popovici, and I wrote a book called Angels Walking With Us. And this book is basically about my journey with advanced neurological Lyme disease and the people that I met along the way throughout the process. It's full of stories of faith, hope, and miracles, and it's a very uplifting book for anybody that has any type of issue in their life. As we know, everybody has some sort of a challenge, and this is a great primer to give to anybody that is sad, might have lost somebody, separated from somebody, or just is not happy.
You went through an extremely trying time. I mean, I cannot imagine what you had gone through. You present yourself as a better person because of it. How did it, was there an aha moment when you just knew that that's what it was? Because it's a lot to let go of when you have that kind of frustration, when you go through that upheaval. Your life took a monumentous upheaval. How did you, what was there a thing, or was it an accumulation of things when you had an aha moment and then you felt the peace? Or is it a process that you mostly identify with and say, well, I'm still kind of going there?
You're an incredibly brilliant woman because you're zeroing right in on the essence of this whole thing. As a young boy, I was an Eagle Scout, did a lot of community service. I was a volunteer firefighter. I always wanted to do better for others, but I always felt there was something missing, right? Had a lot of faith, I was an altar boy. I did everything that you could think of that in my mind's eye was right. Not till I fell to the bottom did I really understand what my true purpose was. And I think in the process of writing this book, meeting Maureen, and some amazing stories that are in this book, did I really truly understand what my purpose was and what life is about. So I think the book was a defining moment for me, but collecting those stories and just feeling my jaw drop when I heard these stories of faith, hope, and miracles. And I'd like to talk about one story. Here's one story that's in my book, and I'll share this with you. I was out in Arizona getting treated, because in Arizona they have more liberal treatments than they do here in a holistic way, because what was happening here really wasn't working for me. I was sitting on the aircraft, and I was in the very first seat in the front row. There was a seat between myself and this 89-year-old woman. And as we were flying along, heading back to New England from Arizona, I was very upset. I was actually crying. And she looked over to me. She was a little Italian lady. I'll never forget it. And she looked at me and she said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Well, I've got this, I've got that, I don't know, and this and that, and my world's collapsing." She said, "I'm going to tell you a story." Maureen's prediction, right? She said, I'm the eighth child. The seventh child is my sister, okay? When I was born, the doctor came to the house, right? Mm-hmm. And back then, 90-something years ago now, it would be almost 100, doctor came to the house with a little black bag. Mm-hmm. Her dad was an Italian immigrant, and he had these 7 kids, and he ran a fruit store downstairs. So doctor comes up, attends to the mom, she's in the bed, the child is delivered, which was her. But in the process, her mother hemorrhaged and bled out and died. So they gathered the family in the kitchen, and the doctor came out and he said, look, he spent some time with the dad. He said, I don't know what to tell you. The dad he didn't know whether to be happy, sad. Here he was with 8 children. He had no wife. And
a newborn.
And a newborn, right. So he didn't know what to be happy, sad. He was all over the place. So he said, look, let's calm the family down. We'll sit him over here. I'm going to go in, make her mom presentable, and then everybody can come in and say goodbye. 10 minutes had passed. Now, this woman had no pulse, nothing. 10 minutes later, she walks out with a bloody sheet on her and says, you have 8 children now. She said, I've seen the Lord. He said, you have 8 children now. He was writing in his book. He said, it's not your time. Go back. She lived 40 more years from that point on. That's one of the stories in my book.
It's amazing.
And when that woman got off that plane, she sprinted by me like an Olympic runner at 89 years old. So Maureen told me, I called her and told her the story. She said, you know she was an angel, don't you? I said, yes, I do, because I saw it with my own eyes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah.
And, you know, you hear these collection of other stories. Mine, there's many stories in my book. Some, like Dr. Wayne Dyer, who is very well known, and how he forgave his father on his dad's grave.
Right.
And how he was led to his dad's grave when he had a rental car. Nobody had ever rented it before. It had 1 mile on it. And the seatbelt had a little plastic business card in it. And in the business card was the address directly across from his father's grave. The car was made in Michigan, and that was down in Louisiana.
So it's amazing.
Yes. Everything happens for a reason. There's signs that are being shown to you every single day. You need to be open to those signs. Maureen will say it could be a song on the radio, it could be some noise, or just a feeling that you get. But my grandmother always used to say, my grandmother Constantina, she used to say, there's a thin veil between us and them. They can see us, but we can't see them. She always said that, and she believed it. And by the way, she died with a smile on her face. She was an amazingly kind, loving woman. I missed her tremendously. I was 21 years old when she passed away. Just a very angelic, kind woman. Never heard her say a bad word about anybody. Very happy lady.
Yeah?
Yeah, she had the light of God inside of her, for sure.
Yeah, and she passed that on to her children.
She did.
Yeah?
She did.
Absolutely.
Wonderful woman.
Absolutely. All right, tell us the name of your book again and your website, because it's time to close.
Angels Walking With Us. You can look at my website, www.angelswalkingwithus.net. A great book to give to anybody as a gift and to pass on. Read it yourself and pass it on. That's what I encourage everybody to do.
And do we have another book coming?
I'm asked that many times, and I'm working on it. I'm contemplating it.
But for now, we'll stay with this one, because this one's a cherish. Thank you so much. And thank you for
Ramona.
being on the show.
Bye.
I'm Ramona, and you've been watching Ramona Interviews. Have a peaceful week.